On today's episode of the Film Breakdown Show, we look at Jayden Daniels versus Caleb Williams and why we think JD5 will get the better of Caleb Williams in prime time. But first, we look at the big nasties up front and why we have the #1 rushing offense in the NFL. It's a symphony of violence with a bunch of 300-pound oboe players. It all starts right now. Welcome into the Film Breakdown Show. I'm Logan Paulson. I'm a 10-year NFL vet. I spent a lot of time here in Washington. And if you're someone talking off to the side, it's my guy, producer Jason. And what's up, Jason?
Hola.
Hola. And we're here in the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. And there's a lot to get into, so we're just going to hit it running right now. So right now, the Commanders are top rushing offense in the NFL. Really exciting watching this group come together. But when you have a group that's playing that way, it's for a multitude of reasons. It's the runner, it's the blocking surface, it's the play call, and the ownership of the play call. So we're going to start with a play here that I call balance. I don't know what the Commanders call it, but basically it's something that I think is very simple. It's kind of a perimeter run play, so the back's going to kind of attack across and go here. But the way we get to the perimeter, it's different than like outside zone, for example, where we'd work combinations like this, and we're kind of zone blocking us up to this player right here. But this is, it kind of adopts gap or man principles. So I'm going to take this man, I'm going to take this man, I'm going to pull because I'm covered, I'm going to pull and kind of lead up. So it's a way for us to attack the perimeter of the defense, right? In a way that outside zone doesn't let us do, right? Because we can create a crease. So right here, check it out. So we get Zach Ertz. He's got a guy in his inside gap. He's going to block down. Great job by Zach Ertz here. Block down. Laramie Tunsil, we're going to block down. Kick out by Chris Paul. And then watch our guy, Biotish, who I think is an underrated player, man, right now, especially with the way they utilize him here. Watch him get skinny through here and basically, do his best Jason Kelce impersonation, getting up here to the second level, working and running in space, right? So I think this is a really well-designed play. This is a concept they ran a ton last year. This is a well-executed play. Great blocks across the front. And obviously the runner does a good job here. But check it out. Bill does not get touched until he's probably, 10, 15 yards down the field. And this is good. This is what you want from a run scheme like this, right? And you can see how these guys are kind of removed from the box because formation is pushing them out of the screen. So you really get really favorable run looks based on formation. I think Cliff's done a really good job of this. You get a box count that's extremely favorable. If you're going to play 5 guys in the box when we have 6 blockers, good night. And again, the reason we're getting this is because Cliff's got 1, 2, 3 receivers over here, and this guy's pushing in this direction to match that group. So I see well-designed in terms of formation, well-executed, and good ownership from the players. And I think the thing that shows ownership is when they run this play a second time, you really see it come to life. Because this is like pretty textbook. This is how it should hit. Down, down, kick, lead up, and we're on the perimeter up to the second level. Great job here. By all involved. And so what I mean in terms of players owning a concept is this. So check this out. This is the same formation. They're playing it a little bit differently now because they're in the red zone. They've got more defenders in the box. Watch this here. So Zach's going to block down. He's going to block the C-gap defender. And the C-gap defender, to my eye, is this player right here. And the C-gap is basically this gap right here. So A-gap, B-gap, C-gap. So he's going to block the C-gap defender. It's man coverage, so Derwin James is going to track him down, which is like basically Zach taking 2 for 1. That's great understanding the coverage and understanding the intent and your responsibility when blocking the run. Great job. We're going to get Laramie blocking down. Love this. This is a subtle thing that just if you're coaching high school ball, watch his second step. So first step down, second step, I'm going to close the door. See how he kind of brings it up, gets it down really quick to kind of build a wall. Right here, he's building a nice wall here. Great job by Laramie, and we're denying penetration at the same time. Chris Paul gets out in front, kicks out. This is where you see ownership from the player. So on the last clip, Tyler Biotish went up inside and blocked basically Derwin James. I love how he reads this. I love how he comes up, reads the block, says, I can get to the perimeter. Let me help you out here, get a little bump there. And now I've got the running back to space because I understand the intent and the directionality of the run here. And so I think that's really cool. Again, design's good, the execution's good, but when you see players kind of taking it to the next level saying, okay, I can force this up inside, but it's a little bit tight. I'm going to read it like I'm the running back, which is crazy to say for a center. I can bounce this to perimeter, get a little chip, and then take 2 on my way up because I'm going to take 1 right here And then I'm going to take one right here on the second level of Derwin James. That's a big-time block. That's big-time understanding. And on both of these runs, again, Bill had a wonderful day. Bill's not touched till he's either in the end zone or until he's 15 yards down the field. So I think that's what I'm talking about with guys owning and understanding plays at a high level, runners running well, and then guys blocking at a super high level. So I think that's all those factors come together to kind of create that really comprehensive rushing attack. Jason, you got something?
Yeah, I got a question for you. So with Biotish on this one here, is that something that's coached up before this play, or is he saying, I'm going to bounce this myself to the outside?
So that's a really good question, and I don't know the answer. And so what I'm going to tell you is that, like, you can call this to bounce. If they were calling it to bounce, I think Chris Paul would work harder to the outside number here to kind of build that wall, to kind of secure that down guy, but he's kicking it out. So it feels like the same. And I will say, when you watch them run this play, this is an adjustment that they can make in-game. And this is where, as a play caller and as a player, an offense can really come to life, is when you see this happen. We've run it enough times to know that this is a possibility as the second puller. I can chip through here, read this out, and it's really hard to overstate how impressive these two clips are from him, because he's reading it like he's the running back. You know, he's a center reading this like he's the running back. He's like, okay, I think I can bounce this, I can win this chip, and now look at, I can get him to grass. In the first one, he couldn't get him to grass the same way to the perimeter. He read that crease inside, skinnied through and made that play. I think this is pretty cool by Tyler Biotish. But yes, I think you can call it that way. I don't think they're doing it here just based on how the blocks shake out. I think he's making that adjustment real time. Like, you know, what's that old adage, he's just playing football? I think that's what he's doing here, which is pretty cool.
The other thing that I'm noticing here, and I could be wrong, is the Jayden Daniels effect. 0, 45, they both key in on Jayden and are late to the pursuit because of that. If you watch their eyes, they're just stuck on him.
Yeah, I think this is something you see a lot from Cliff's offense is, and especially with 5 in the backfield, is, remember we talked about how they had the 3 receivers over here to this side? Remember we talked about that? So there's a formational pull here, but there's also 5, right? He's going to hold this player. This guy's doing a good job. Like, even if you were running, even if Jayden Daniels wasn't back there, this guy would be doing this, right? He's got to slow play this because the back can always cut back, right? He's got to be that D gap, that edge of the defense. I think where you really see the magic here is with 0, right? This second level player, because his gap is right here. He's supposed to squeeze in there. And we always talk about leverage double teams. Like, this is a hard block to get here, right? Because you got to fight through that down guy if you're wily and get up to the next level. But watch 0 as he kind of hesitates here. And in the NFL, this is all you need. See how he's kind of eyes in the backfield hesitating? Now this combination, I have leverage to the linebacker here, right? Do you see that? And now I can create this wall. And I do think that second level reaction is a Jayden Daniels effect. This guy, I think, is just playing good, sound football at the NFL level. This guy, I think, is out of position because of the concern of what Jayden Daniels can do as a runner. So I do think that's part of it for sure. All right, so that's it. That's the run game. That's one example. They run a lot of counter, do all sorts of different stuff. But I thought this was cool because it shows you how different runs can hit based on how players are seeing it. And I think the guys are really starting to own this element of the offense. Okay, now you mentioned Jayden Daniels, Jason. Let's talk a little bit about Jayden Daniels. And this is a fun one because I think it just shows a couple things. One, it shows why football is the ultimate team game, okay? So love the protection plan here on this little pass. We're going to get a chip by Zach Ertz. He's going to get to the flat. Love that Cliff is always thinking about how to make the offensive line's job easier, right? Look at this pocket, right? Look at the time that he's got, first and foremost. Like, his ability to scan, work through these different routes, kind of hit different things. Because right now he's trying to hit kind of a high-low here. This is a concept that they ran earlier in the game. You're going to run a deep comeback, flat. This guy goes over the top, and this guy runs a dig, right? So you're really kind of checking here as the 1 read, I would say, to here as the 2 read. And if you don't like it, we can always check it down to the back and the flat. But if you watch his eyes, like, he starts with good vision right here, right to Debo, right? Then as he gets into his drop, he's able to work across the progression. He's working here. This player is getting some depth. So he says, I don't really love that too much. And also look at his body position. See how everything's pointing this way? He understands that he's kind of rallying to this area of the field here where the dig is supposed to go. You see that? Let me get my right tool here, where the dig is supposed to go. See how he's in that window? Great job by Jayden seeing that. Great job by him understanding that. Going 1 to 2, and then we're going to get to 3 here with the back and the flat. And this ends up being an explosive play just because Jayden's good with his eyes, good with his fundamentals, man. And, like, that's exactly what you want to see. A well-designed play makes it easy on the quarterback. We go 1, 2 to grass, 3 to the back, and I don't have to strain. There's nothing crazy going on. It kind of naturally flows with the timing and rhythm of the play. Jayden gets to where he's got to go. And when you trust the concept and you can do something boring repeatedly, which is what Jayden's doing here, check down's boring. Everyone hates it. But when you can do it and be deliberate with it, this ends up being a 25-yard gain. Great job by Bill. But again, great job by Jayden to get there. And got to go back to the offensive line. He's able to work through this. Look at the time that he's got here. We got multiple guys dominating one-on-one matchups here, and this is what lets quarterbacks be quarterbacks and make good decisions down the field.
So I am online probably way too much. And one of the things I see is that there are some people out there that for whatever reason have a perception of Jayden Daniels, and one of those perceptions that is relatively prominent outside of Washington is that he's a one read quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he takes off, and that's what he is, and it's like we're overhyping him. This shows he's clearly not that. He's doing a read all the way across the field.
Yeah.
Unless your argument is, I guess, he's always going to the flat. But that looks like he's manipulating the defense with his eyes and then dropping it there. Like, tell me I'm wrong, Logan. Like, is this looking at progressions, or is it designed to go to the flat?
This is 100% a progression because this is where the ball is supposed to go. This, for fans who watch this game, remember the Jalen Lane completion on the 3rd and 16? This is the same concept, right? It's the same exact concept. This is your number one read, okay? We like it. If we like the matchup, we're going to take it. I don't like it, right? But why don't I like it? Because look at this dude underneath here, right? The ability for him to say, I don't like it right now. That's too tough of a throw. Let me get to number 2 because his eyes, look, they're here. He's looking to the dig. He's looking in the right spot, but everyone says, oh, well, the dig's open right here. But the dig's open right here because he's got good leverage. He's going to have to throw this ball over here. Like, that's where the ball's got to go. And look where this guy's dropping into his vision. So I think that's something that fans maybe don't see as they say, oh, this guy's open right now or whatever. But he's throwing to a spot. He's throwing to position. And again, if this guy's too deep, I know the back's going to be there, right? So I'm reading this progression out because I'll tell you right now that this is not the first read in the progression, the running back, right? He's working a progression. And I think, again, to the schematic element that we talked about the running game, this is just a well-designed concept. It's easy. 1, 2 to the dig that's coming into his vision, and then we get to the back and the flat. So and again, if you go through it and this is the other thing. If you're correct at saying, no, and I've made that decision correctly, then the back is for sure going to be open based on coverage structure. So by the back being this open proves that he's reading it out correctly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want you to BS me here, Logan. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
How advanced is this for a quarterback going into his second year? Is this something that you see 5% of the time, 10% of the time, 50% of the time, 80% of the time? Like, when we're talking about quarterbacks coming out of college, where he's at in the pocket quarterback aspect of things, where would you put him at right now?
I actually think he does a really good job. Like, I'm actually more impressed with him in that regard than I thought I'd be. And this is tough. Everyone talks about like full field progressions, knowing when to say no. I think he's got a really good barometer for that. And I think, Coach DeVita said this the other day, and Tom Brady said it too. It's like, this is not that he could force this ball, get a big time throw into one of these spots, right? But he's not being effective with the football. So I think it's more the maturity. I think this is what I'd say. The maturity to know I can do this. I might be able to do this, but that's not what the defense is giving me. And then taking that's where the maturity for him comes. Like, that's where the difficulty is. It's not in the reading it out. It's in the maturity to know, like, hey, I can't make this. I know where my boundary is, especially in this game. Let me just work my progression and take what the defense has given me, which is a ton of grass here to the flat. Gosh, I'm having a hard time with this grid today. Take a ton of defense to this flat here. So I think that's where I think the maturity and the difference is in him. So now let's get to the next play. And it's a little high cross. And this to me is just like beautifully designed in a way that gets me incredibly excited. So everyone talks about Cliff and does he, what's he actually doing? This is awesome. So we're going to put a little bit of motion on here, give a little window dressing, kind of get people looking at stuff. And then we're going to send the back to the right. So this now becomes a 4-man, we're going to chip here, run a little hitch here, a 4-man side in terms of coverage, right? This stresses defenses just by numbers, right? We got 4 guys to the offensive right here. Look at how this defense has to declare. I have to take this guy I'm going to take this guy in terms of zone principle, right? This guy's matching on the backside. These two guys are clearing these zones. They're clearing these zones here. Clear, clear the zone, clear, and clear. So what are we doing here? By the numbers and the play design, we're getting a man-to-man coverage with outside leverage with our best player. It's not an accident that Deebo Samuel is lined up here, right? This is where the ball is probably supposed to go, okay? He's going to run a high cross, does a good job here, being physical at the top. Love that little collision there to create a little separation. And now we're ensuring grass for the quarterback. Look at the space here. Look at the space here he's created because of this four-man overload. So we've got the back here. We get the corner to declare to the back, right? I'm declaring to the back. I'm declaring here. These two guys are matched up in the secondary. Boom, boom. And we've ensured the guy that we want to get the football is going to be able to get the football. And people say, well, Logan, well, what if one of these guys fall off? This is where Jayden Daniels has to mature, or has matured, and why this offense is good. If this guy drops off, I throw it here, right? If this guy drops off, I throw it to the back. And we're able to work and kind of gain yardage and get a first down, or gain a chunk of yards that way. So I think, again, really well-designed play, understanding what the defense is trying to do, and understanding how to manipulate the defense. Great job by Cliff. Great ball by Jayden, really laying this in there. This is not a huge window throw, but anticipating the grass, throwing it to space, easy completion there. Love to see it. And again, I think those are really good examples of him maturing as a player, but also how Cliff is helping not only the quarterback, but the offensive line in terms of how he's calling plays. So love that. All right, now let's get to Caleb Williams, who is, I think, playing a lot better football here. And so we just talked about that play right there, which is some type of high cross variation. I'd call that X high cross. It's an easy play to read out. It's a big-time college play. I think a lot of coaches get to it. This is Ben Johnson's version of that. We're going to run a cross here. We're going to run a little snag here, wheel post to clear coverage out, and watch what we get. We get these two guys attaching to the snag. We get this guy or more with outside leverage running a high cross, and we're able to sink this thing right here and make this completion. This kind of concept, this execution did not exist with the Chicago Bears last year. So Ben Johnson's done a great job. This is first down, I want to say. Second and 11. No, first down, sorry. First and 10. And he's going to make this throw. And look he's on time. He's on rhythm. Look at his feet. Look at his base. We're not rushing here. We're just in a good position, deliver a strike. Excellent job. And I think that's a big credit to Ben Johnson. So they're doing this with simpler, easier concepts to read out. They're doing it with play action pass, and they're getting a more productive Caleb Williams. So I just wanted to point that out as a kind of a good example of Ben Johnson's influence on the offense.
So you're saying like good play design helps a quarterback get in rhythm and timing?
100%.
Because one of the knocks for Caleb was he doesn't play in rhythm, but a good play design keeps you in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what are some things like on this play specifically, if Ben Johnson is calling plays to get him nice, easy, clean looks in rhythm and one time, how does Washington play this to disrupt it?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I think it's understanding the principle of the concept. It's just basically a high-low. So a lot of teams will run this same concept. So this player is running the low right here. This player is running basically the pivot. And sometimes they'll run a dig in behind it, or sometimes they'll run it from across the field here. Basically, what you're trying to do is trying to get this player right here to step to the low, right? That's all you're trying to do. Step to the low, see him how he vacates that space and gives you this opportunity to complete this football here. So to stop it, all you got to do is remind people, what's the more dangerous throw? When I was in Atlanta with Dan Quinn, they said, this is fake. This is the offense trying to show you something pretty. So you step up, try to take it, and we hit something in behind you. So if you watch Caleb Williams' eyes, this is a well-coached progression. Eyes to the snag, right? First, so this is the first read. This is the second read here. Eyes to the snag. The second the guy steps up, now we throw it in behind him. What if he just stayed right there? Could he still make this play? Yeah, and he's still in the throwing window for the cross. So understanding what's happening on this concept, understanding what they're trying to do, understanding route distribution is really important for defenders. And I think if this guy's just a little bit more patient to his coverage responsibility, he's going to be in a really good spot to make this play.
Is that something that, as a linebacker or safety that's playing in that position, something that comes with just experience? Like you've seen this 100 times, you know what they're trying to do. So would you say like you'd rather have a linebacker with a lot of experience that knows what offenses are trying to do in that on a passing down?
This is your soapbox. Yeah. You know, a guy who's really patient, to your point, is Bobby Wagner, right? He understands like where he should be going, right? He understands kind of what it means to be canceling out horizontal throwing windows here, right? Because as he goes, if this guy, again, if he does not move, he has a shot to make a play on this football. And I've seen Bobby do this a million times where he just gets just enough depth to get the guy to say no. And then what's Bobby really excellent at? Tackling. Tackling as he runs downhill towards the line of scrimmage. So in terms of taking it away, just teaching guys to be patient, teaching guys to play their responsibilities, and then rally to the underneath stuff. But I do think this is a feature of the offense that's been really impressive. And it doesn't always show up in this specific concept, but it can be play action, can be all sorts of stuff. Keepers, boots, all those kind of things. And the thing I will say is they have a hard time doing this in longer down and distance. So if we can win on first and second down, make them play all 3 downs, I think Caleb's going to struggle, and I'll show you why here more in a second. So not only do you have to worry about him as a, I don't know, like on first down on rhythm, right? He also has a really nice ability to make plays on the second reaction. People call it the second play, right? So here he is. We're working concept. This is dead down here. They're trying to hit like a little stick concept. 15's their guy. Look at his eyes. He's like, I'm going to throw this ball to 15 all day, every day, and twice on Sunday, right? But great job. They're bracketing. They take it away. So he says, all right, I'm going to go to the next guy, right? Great job by the mic, carrying this through. Great job being patient here, not taking the underneath thing. Great job being patient here, not taking the underneath. Then watch what happens. Now he steps up. He starts to run. I think this is a really good illustration of how if the pressure and the rush is not tied to the coverage, like because right now they are in a perfect position. Everybody's covered. The second he vacates the pocket, watch as the zones start to stretch. Watch guys playing out of position, playing down, rallying to stuff that they should have been patient probably to earlier. And then all of a sudden, Caleb can do this. He has the ability to make these kind of awkward arm angle throws and find open players. And so this is where we got to make sure our rush is locked in. But when he does get to the second reaction throw, continue to be patient. Like, this is not your job. We have a spy on this play, right? We have a spy here to match him. Think like Frankie Louvu body type, like, and he's going to go put his Rydell right on this guy. I don't need to step anywhere. Where are my threats? Watch them both step up to this. That's not my job. Do not step up. I don't need to do that, right? Be patient. Do what you're supposed to do. Like Joe Wood Jr. says, don't put that cape on. You don't have to. We've got this covered based on concept calls. So that's what I think, that's where he's dangerous at.
That's also a crazy throw. Dude, if you look at his body and no foundation.
He's uber talented, man. Like there's a reason he's a first pick overall. Like he has probably 3 or 4 of these in a game where you're just like, dang. That's the dude that was drafted number 1 overall. Like, look at, like it's a great point. Like he's running shoulders to the sideline, get that thing work, like create that body torque and get that ball there with good velocity is incredible. That being said, like check this out. This is something that he does all the time. So we talked about being patient. This is a really good example by the Raiders. Watch the linebackers here. They're going to run a play action shot. Watch number 57 just say, okay, I know it's play action. The offensive line's telling me something. I'm going to get deep, get underneath these concepts. It's dead, right? Good job. Be patient. Force the check down. That's exactly what we want, right? Now, this is where Caleb struggles, is when he says, okay, it's dead. Now watch this throw. What is that? And he's probably got 3 or 4 of these a game. And so people talk about why the Bears offense is so inconsistent. I point to him. He's got very high highs, but his lows look like this. So if you can be patient, force him to be boring, force him to be, we talked about Jayden Daniels taking the flat, taking the check down. That's big time football. And people say, why, Logan, why? This is why. If you complete this football here, this is probably a 4 or 5 yard gain. Now it's 2nd and 5. The whole playbook's open to us. Now it's 2nd and 10 because I threw a terrible football. You know what I'm saying? And this is the type of stuff that pops up with him more often than not. And I think it's just important to understand, like, all the clips relate. If the guy in the first clip gets depth and falls underneath that thing and we tackle that guy or we make a rally to that guy underneath, we're forcing him to be boring on a down-to-down basis. And because sometimes his feet get accelerated, he can't do it for 10 plays in a row.
Talk to me about body language here with Caleb.
Yeah. He is a fun guy to watch when it comes to body language. Like, he's not good at it. He gets frustrated. He wears his emotions on his sleeves.
He's passionate. You're not taking that away from him.
You know exactly how he feels. And I think there's some good things there, right? But there's also where it's like, hey, man, you missed a throw. Like, let's keep it moving. Everybody on the team's looking for you for leadership. And when we're comparing Jayden to Caleb, I think there's a lot to be said for how Jayden is the same guy all the time. When I was a player, that's the guy I want leading me, is the guy that I look to, good, bad, and different. It's the same guy. There's a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. There's good things to that. I just always felt as a player a little insecure when the leader of the team was having a freak out about something.
So tell me, I don't want you to call out somebody that made you feel insecure, as you said, but tell me about a player who like had that ice in his veins for you, made you feel confident no matter what. They made that throw and they go, oh, you know what? We got him next time.
Yeah, he'd be like, my bad, boys. And he knows he made a mistake. Matt Ryan, first guy that comes to mind. Matty Ice, baby, because he was locked in, super professional, like, hey, we're good, bad, everything. I'm going the same direction all the time. And again, I think there's value to that. So I just want to point this out because it's going to be hard for him without a big explosive play, without those crazy arm angle, without the easy button over top to drive a 10-play drive and go score because his fundamentals start breaking down on some of these throws. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the defense real quick. And let's just talk about the run game. So we talked about how Cliff at the beginning of the show does a really good job with personnel, making it tough for teams to be successful. So this is right here, this is 21 personnel. So it's 2 backs, there's the running back over there, and a tight end and a fullback, okay? They traditionally, when you're not in 21 or 22 or heavy personnel, they want to be in a 4-down spacing. Here, they're in 3-down spacing. So 1, 2, 3 defensive linemen, right? We've got these guys playing the edges, so it kind of ends up playing like a 5-man front. This is perfect for counter, which is one of Washington's best runs, right? So counter, we're going to get a double team here, and I can go all the way back. I'm going to back block. I'm going to hinge to protect this inside gap. And now the guard's going to come and kick this guy out, and the fullback's going to lead up on nobody. This is a great play call here, and watch. Tight end gets great leverage here. Watch him dig this dude out. I imagine John Bates doing this, number 55 here. It's going to be violent and physical. Yep, get out of there, build a wall. Imagine our guy, Chris Paul. We've seen him kick out a bunch of times this year. He's going to get his hat inside on this, wall this guy out. And even though this isn't blocked as well as it could be or it should be, we still get a 7-yard gain here. 7-yard gain because the guy that's got to make the tackle, first off, the front spacing is perfect for the run we have called. And the guy that's making the tackle is coming from 10 yards deep. Jaquan Brisker, number 9. He's a very physical football player, good tackler. I don't care who you are, though. You're coming from 14 yards deep making a tackle like against a well-blocked run. It's going to lead to this stuff. So I just want to point this out. They have a hard time stopping the run. A little bit of it's personnel. A little bit of it's like their first and second down philosophy. So I think that's something I just wanted to point out in terms of what Cliff's done so far and how it can continue to apply to what the Bears defense is doing.
When you mean philosophy for first and second down, do you have another play or do you want to use this one? Like, what do you mean by that? What are they doing?
So they play, there's another play. I'll show you right here. This is the next one. Good. This is pin pull. So this is another play we run. They play a ton of man on first down, right? They play a ton of man. And here, I think this is a really good example of 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in 4-man fronts, okay? Watch what we're going to do here. We're going to crack down with this receiver here to the perimeter. Crack. Watch this guy lose leverage on this block because he's in man coverage. His eye discipline's not good, right? He's going to play down. It lets the guard reach him to the front side. And now we've got hats to the perimeter, right? This man coverage stuff that they're playing makes it really challenging for guys to fit and play downhill to the football. We talked about eye discipline with our defense versus Green Bay. They run into a lot of the same issues, right? Look at this guy. Look at this guy in the corner with the block down. He's got to run across. This guy has to play over top because he thinks it might be a route concept. They're in conflict immediately because of the man. They play a lot of man on first down. Usually, in my mind, it's a little bit more zone on first down and then man on third down. This is why some of that early down man stuff is tough because now all these guys are in conflict. We've got hats to the perimeter. We're running downhill. Like this is an explosive run. However, I did put this play on here because I think you can run the football on them stylistically and from a structure standpoint, no doubt. However, watch 29 here. This guy right here running the ball down. This is a fumble recovery by Chicago. They turn the football over at an extremely high rate. So you can get explosive chunks in the run game. You can get explosive chunks in the pass game that you know what they're going to be in. The fact that they would even consider rushing 4 in this game and playing man coverage behind it with Jayden Daniels at quarterback is kind of mind-boggling to me. But the reason they stay in games is systematically they're struggling, but they get turnovers, and much like their offense, which creates explosive plays, right? They create explosive defensive plays in the form of turnovers, and they didn't play last week, but I think they're still the second team in interceptions in the NFL. Like they're top 5 in turnover differential, even though they're one game back.
They're +7 in turnover differential.
Yeah, so they're playing good football when it comes to this stuff, and they're giving their offense more bites at the apple, even though they're struggling defensively. In man coverage, the turnovers come on tips and overthrown balls, right? So I'm in a tight contested window. Think about Mike Sanderson's interception last week. That's a zone coverage because eyes are the quarterback, but the ball's tipped and it comes to him and he catches it, right? Like that's how they're preaching getting turnovers, right? They don't want you being loose with your eye discipline, right? Think about the one a couple weeks ago against the Raiders where Amos tips that ball up, right? That should have been an interception, right? Tip balls, overthrown footballs, that's what they're looking for there. Where the eye discipline, I can be on my work as a man defender, right? But I still have an opportunity to get the football because we've created disruption in the football. That's where like the pressure, and so people say, why are you playing man? If you're asking Joe Wood Jr., one is it lets me blitz a lot. And I can create pressure, which encourages errant throws and tip footballs. They play a lot of aggressive man coverage. It puts them in difficult situations when defending the run and on first down, but they get a lot of turnovers. And I think that's the thing about this defense that you have to be aware of when you're talking about them.
All right, thanks for educating me there.
No, I think that's going to do it for the show today, though. So hopefully that was educational. If you like this show, recommend it to your friends because, again, we judge the success of this show and whether we're going to keep doing it based on how many people comment, how many people view it. So if you want to keep it going, share with a friend. But thanks so much for watching, and that's going to do it for the Film Breakdown Show.
This show was filmed at the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. Big Bear AI offers mission-ready AI for a rapidly evolving world, proudly protecting the Washington Commanders and its fans.